Hey guys, how we doing? It's March 15th, or I'm sorry, February 15th, and I figured I'd come over here to do a quick go around of both the Massey and the Minneapolis Moline. As you can see, I did do a little bit of work on it. I apologize for not bringing the camera, but all I really did was remove the gas tank, the Magneto, and the carburetor. So I'll kind of go around it and show you guys exactly what you need to do in order to remove the gas tank. First, take the hood off. In order to do that, you got to remove the cap for the air cleaner. It's real simple. It's just a push-on cap like every other tractor. Unlatch the hood with the two latches, and then there's 3 bolts, one here, and one on the other side. And that's pretty much it as far as the hood goes, but you do have to loosen the front tank strap because the hood slides underneath that tank strap. And then you also remove the rear tank strap. Disconnect your fuel line from the fuel bowl at this location here, and your tank comes off. That's all there is to it. So from there, in order to remove the air cleaner to get to the Magneto, it's just 4 bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4. Remove your connection tube from your carburetor, and the air cleaner comes right off. That's all there is to it. To remove the Magneto, I had to remove the generator to get easy access to it. So it's essentially a support bolt up top, just like most other tractors where your adjustment strap is. And then you've got 1 bolt on each side holding the generator in place. Disconnect your wires, and you can tilt the generator in to get the belt off. Then you just pull the generator out. Real simple. And now the Magneto. These tractors are similar to like a Ford V8 or Dodge V8 in the sense that they've got a distributor mounted in front of the motor. Well, it's the same thing with these Minneapolis Molines. The Magneto is mounted directly in front of the motor, and on the spark plug side there's a stud that comes out of the Magneto, goes through the casting in the block, and then there's a nut on the bottom which is down inside that slot, and it's not very easy to get to, especially if the generator's in the way. And then on the other side, I'll try and adjust the camera here, but there's just 1 bolt that holds the other side of the flange in place. Maybe I can lift up the hood here to give you guys some more light. But yeah, this bolt right here. So the stud goes down through here with a nut on the bottom. Then you've got this bolt here. And as you can see, this Magneto drive, this whole area is very, very dirty. So I'm going to have to clean all that out before reinstalling the mag. But it's real simple. That's all it is to remove the mag. So take the air cleaner off, take the generator off, and then you can get to the mag easily. Now the carburetor is just as easy. It's 2 bolts, one here, and then there's a linkage on the back side that goes from the throttle body to the governor linkage. So you just pull the cotter pin out of that, push the linkage out, remove the 2 bolts, and carburetor comes off. And then you also have to remove the choke cable, but it's real simple. It's just a couple of standard or flat screwdriver screws that hold it in place. And that's really about it. I mean, that's all we've done. I just wanted to get it done real quick the other day. I was probably only over here for a half an hour or so, and I know I should have brought the camera, but you know, it's just, I just needed to get over here and get my mind off some things for a half hour, you know, with all the house sales and everything going on. So that's what I did, and that's where we're sitting. But my plan is rebuild the carburetor. I'll bring the Magneto to Rudy Kalin over at rebuiltmags.com. If you haven't checked out his site, check it out. Rudy Kalin, rebuiltmags.com. He does all my work. He does great work. He does stuff for people worldwide. So, but essentially, this is where we're sitting. And I did find a couple of goodies. This can here, double acting baking powder. I'm not sure of the brand, but it's a twist-on lid for a metal can. And it sounds like there's probably some spark plugs or something in there. Maybe someday I can get it out and get that lid off without damaging it. The tires, they're all matching. They're a little low on air. They're not in horrible shape, but they're not in great shape either. But they're better than a lot of tires I've had. So put some air in them and we should be good for a while. So I noticed that this does have a grease gun mount. It's got a cup holder. The toolbox on the fender full of old goodies. And we've also got the clip here for, you know, some other type of apparatus, whatever it would be used for, some type of tool. But what else? We've got the hand crank is with it. So this tractor is, you know, 100% complete and ready to go. If we look at the oil is good and black, which is good. It's not milky, so that means there's no water in there, which is very good. We got broken headlight lenses, but that's alright. It's to be expected with something that's as old as this. But anyhow, when I get back home here, I'm going to pull the carburetor apart and soak it so that it has a chance to clean here. I'm hoping to have this thing running before we move, so I don't have to pull it on and off a trailer and all of that jazz. But that's about it for that tractor for now. I need a new gas cap for this thing. The gas cap's in rough shape, but I also have to flush the tank out. But let's move on to the Massey. It's a Model 33. It's got live hydraulics. I'm pretty sure it's a 1952 model. Not exactly sure, but I'm pretty sure. We just got to run the serial number. We did get started on this as well. And the story of this one is, it's a club tractor. We all kind of went in on it as a agreement that, you know, it's going to be used for whatever the club wants to use it for. So the starter, it does work. We've got the battery in it. It does work and turn over, but we can't get any fire out of it. So I think we need to do a quick electrical tune-up, you know, points, condenser, all that stuff. Maybe replace the I'm having a brain fart. Resistor. Replace the resistor because all the connections in here are loose and it's been painted over. So we'll probably replace that. We'll pull the starter off and get it serviced. It seems to be binding with the flywheel. We did find out that the radiator, I don't know if you guys can see that, but a pretty significant issue with the radiator there. It is leaking and there's a bit of bit of damage to the back side. So we're going to have to find a radiator, and the steering mechanism you can see is laying in the bottom here. But what the issue is all the mount bolts for the worm gear and casting were busted off. So my guess is when it was put in storage, it was probably put in there with a bobcat or whatever, and the front end was probably in the air, and he put it in, and when it slammed down, it probably pushed the whole worm gear assembly up into the casting, and it was binding, and then it popped off that casting. So we just got to drill the bolts out of the casting there, out of the belly of the casting for the front pedestal, and then put new bolts in it and mount it, and we should be good. But it is 12 volts, it's got an alternator on it already. It's got some old fuel in it, but it's a pretty nice straight old tractor. I mean, it's been recently restored, or at least refurbished a little bit. You know, it's got a good paint job on it, and the tires are halfway decent. Some weather checking, but that's really about all that's wrong with them. It does have a remote cylinder on the back with 2 outputs. I really don't know too much about these Massey's, but from what I've read, this is right around or a little over 200 cubic inches, and it competes with a Farmall M. So I know they're a little bit more difficult to find parts for. We're having a hard time finding a good radiator already, but worst comes to worst, we'll just we'll bring this one to a radiator shop and see if they can recore it and go from there. But that's where this one's sitting. It does have, I believe this thing does have an intermediate clutch similar to what like an Alice Chalmers would have, or like an M&W hand clutch, that type of deal. So, but that's about it for this one. Let's head back to the house and start tearing the carburetor for the Minneapolis apart. That should be pretty simple and straightforward as well. But oh, before I forget, we had another tractor tire mishap over the winter. The Alice is going to need a tube, so not a huge deal. At least we got a good tire. We just got to get a tube on it. So $50 and we should be good to go. But let's head back home, and I really like this weathered piece of wood as a platform. I really like that. It's really cool. But I'm surprised at how straight the fenders are on this as well. I mean, they're dent free, really. I mean, I think this one is canted in a little bit, so we're gonna have to at some point push it back out, but she's ready to run. Just got to get a couple of things done and we'll be good to go. So let's head back to the house. Alright guys, well here we are. Got the carb for the Minneapolis here, and the identifying tag for the model number is right on the front of the throttle body. It's a TSX 97. So when we order our parts, that's the number we got to use. But that linkage I was talking about is right here. It's just a simple linkage. It goes into your throttle shaft. I guess you could call it a plate, and connects to your governor. But I'm just going to start taking this thing apart and grab a wrench here. Start soaking it. It'll help if I grab the right size. And just looking down the throat of this thing, it looks pretty clean inside, but I'm gonna soak it just because it doesn't hurt to clean it. You know, it's been sitting for who knows how long, so doesn't hurt. So everything seems to be going pretty smoothly with the house. We're just waiting on appraisals on both our townhouse and our new house. So it's just a matter of time, really. Our closing date on both homes is set for March 30th, so we got about 6 weeks until we're out of here. And I've got a lot to do between now and March 30th. You know, you don't realize how much stuff you accumulate over the years until you go to move it all, you know. Let's see, let's check the throttle shaft feels pretty good. I don't know if we'll need a bushing or not. It seems to be pretty good, but still got some old gas inside there. Kind of going through and taking it all apart just cause you might as well. Gotta get a longer screwdriver here. Probably the first carburetor where I haven't had trouble getting the screws out of the choke plate, which hopefully is a good sign. Okay. Really isn't much to these things, these marble Schieblers, or Schebler, or however you want to see it. And it is missing a screw for the carb throttle body to bowl, so I'll have to get one of those. Not a big deal. And actually, I know a little bit about these Marvels just because my case had one back when my grandpa owned it. But I replaced it with the original Zenith when I restored it because I couldn't figure out what model number the carburetor was that was on it. So there we go. Not too terribly horrible. Does have a rubber tipped main jet in it, so that pretty much means that it's been rebuilt at some point in its recent history. To figure out how to get this jet out. Or if I can do it this way. Probably not. Don't have a screwdriver that size, so I'll have to do some thinking on that. I don't want to use a vice grip, really. I could probably put it in my vice, give it a couple taps. Go. So we got that out, and I think that pretty much does it for the throttle body here. Alright, that's that. Now we just have to get the bowl drain and I believe that's the load needle. So just getting all this stuff apart, kinda. So let's see, that's gonna be 9/16. Oh no. Oof, that's dirty. Yeah, definitely needs to be cleaned. So, perfect. And then this nozzle is pressed into place. On some Zeniths, this nozzle is threaded into place, but on this one, it's pressed in. So that should do it for this carburetor. So to put the small parts in, and then we'll drop down the big parts. And I like to put the float inside the bowl and then put it in so that it stays down to keep it submerged. So there we go. It's soaking. So after a few days or so, I'll come in here and then rotate everything around and let it soak for a few more days. So just to get it good and clean. But that's all I really got for this video. I guess I'll just have you guys stay tuned for more updates, and I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you soon. Alright? See ya. Thanks for watching, and thanks for wrenching with me.